Hello, my name is and welcome to my Module 4, Understanding My Community, EDL 856 presentation. Customs and traditions. So here at SCA, we're in Pueblo West, Colorado. Big things are sports, school, and church. Lots of sports here at my school, but really the community, all the high schools, all the middle schools, really competitive. Lots of sports environments, lots of places to go play baseball, basketball, football, soccer, swimming, track, you name it. We are able to accommodate for it. There's a lot of opportunities for students to do that. As far as school goes, there's lots of different schools to choose from. Churches, big churches around the area. We have Catholic Christian churches and Mormon churches. Some of the traditions that a lot of my students participate in circle around county fair and 4-H, taking care of livestock, feeding them, raising them, showing them, kind of a family tradition that I see a lot of my students take part in. A big thing that a lot of the people around this area participate in are the Chili and Frijole Festival. Lots of 4th of July celebrations. It seems like 4th of July, the lake kind of opens up, lots of people around at the lake, lots of celebrations in town, out of town, downtown, just kind of brings the whole community out. Along with that, some of the bigger traditions are Christmas, Hanukkah, and Kwanzaa, kind of the big ones that we celebrate at SCA, just because of the population we have and the population that choose to celebrate those holidays. A huge one right now is academic competition. Because there's so many high schools, because there's so many schools in the area, academic competition definitely riles schools up. Something we look at where we are constantly comparing our data to other data, to other schools around. One huge thing that all educators should really be aware of at this school is that the exponential growth is almost hard to imagine. My school currently is adding a grade level every year. I'll show in a slide later just how much that growth has changed over the last few years. And we also have a large ELL population, which sometimes tends to weigh heavy on our ELL coordinators for how they can get resources and how we can have enough funding to support all those students. Sometimes it seems like it's just never quite enough. Show a further breakdown is an image of Swallows Charter Academy. This is a breakdown from 1997 all the way to 2020. It shows the growth in just students at my school alone. You can see the breakdown where our two largest ethnicities are white, and then you have Hispanic, and then you have a large portion of 2 or more races. But as you can see, it is exponentially growing and has continued to grow every year. Population characteristics. We have a diverse community, diverse neighborhoods, socioeconomic differences. So not necessarily ethnicities between neighborhoods, but just where you can go from one part of the neighborhood where you're looking at houses that are $1 million houses to trailers that are less than 50,000 within minutes of each other, and they're kind of segregated in town, depending on which side of the highway you're on and things of that nature. When you look at the breakdown of Pueblo West, 60% are Caucasian, 30% are Hispanic, and 10% claim to be 2 or more races. The educational breakdown, we have gender breakdown where we have males and females where we're really pretty balanced at 48 and 52%. Our median resident age is 40. The largest employer right now is Parkview Medical. There's 3,000 employees, and there's a brand new emergency wing getting put into a new site here in Pueblo West that'll not double that, but definitely add a substantial amount. There is a median household income about 78,000. There's high school degree. We have about 90%, 95% of the population has a high school degree, and 28% has a bachelor's degree. So communication channels. What are people using to communicate the news? So YouTube and stream meetings is the largest thing right now. COVID has made a huge impact on that, but that is far and wide one of the most used communication channels. The second would be Facebook. I know Swallows Charter has their own business Facebook, and there's a lot of communication notices, things like that, going to parents, going to the community about that. There's FM radio. We have local radio stations. They share a lot of the information when schools are having events. If they're going to have a back to school night, things like that, those websites will share that information. You can also find information like that on all school websites. There's commercials. You'll see it on TV as far as radio and newspaper, lots of ads, lots of communication through there. So community groups. So some of the community groups in Pueblo West, you've got public and private schools. For example, I'm at a public charter school, but there's private schools. We have religious schools. We have public schools. There's a huge variety of schools just in this one area. You have multiple school districts. You have a public charter district. You've got your regular district. We also have District 70 and District 60 that work within Pueblo. District 70, which is what part of SCA is kind of the outskirts and Pueblo West, as to where District 60 focuses more on the in-town in Pueblo. You have PTO responsible for all fundraising. They do a lot of the behind the scenes of how do we get money to the kids after all the paperwork and everything else has been settled out. Colleges in the area, we have Colorado State University at Pueblo, and we also have Pueblo Community Colleges. Some of the major community jobs, I should say, are manual labor. You have a ton that work for the steel mill, railroad, construction. There's a concrete factory as well, a cement factory as well. But a lot of the jobs around here are manual labor. A lot of people going out. You have electricians. You have all over the board. We have an industrial section in here in Pueblo West where a lot of those businesses are all located. Other community groups that make a difference are Elks Lodge and the VFW. Both can be seen helping, donating, helping do things for the community. So leadership. So for leadership, just at SCA, something that SCA does is they provide Love and Logic series where the school actually schedules nights to bring parents in, show them some of the things that can help with parenting, some of the things we do here at school, and kind of really encompass the entire family. The school structure, he starts at the student or superintendent. You have school board, principals, staff. At SCA, you have the school board, the president, the administration, the staff. And then with Pueblo, you have elected officials such as Pueblo West Metro Board of Directors and Mayor Nick Gradisar. Some of the obstacles here in Pueblo West, you have unemployment, the rapid growing population. There's agriculture that is constantly getting smaller. Because we're growing at such an alarming rate, transportation is becoming an issue. It's just getting harder and harder to get around town. Traffic is often backed up for an area that it really has the room to make use for. Large and small business support. We have tons of opportunities for small businesses as well as medium and large businesses. We kind of have an array of all sorts. So the economic conditions, you have the poverty line sitting at about 8%. Median household income is $72,000. For agriculture, lots of farming, ranching that support the area. A few gigantic ranches that really surround Pueblo West, and I know they contribute a lot towards those property taxes. But on the eastern side, the Mesa side of Pueblo, you have a lot of smaller farms. One big thing for our economy here in Pueblo West, we have a large number of commuters. A lot of people can travel to Colorado Springs and Denver within an hour and a half. And so we have a ton of people that live here that just commute out, as well as Florence and Canyon City that have major federal and state prisons that take a lot of the workers or a lot of the residents that live here in Pueblo West work out of town. Because of this, we've also faced COVID reduction. So a lot of the things that we're used to coming into town don't. As far as food goes, things like that has really kind of impacted the restaurants and the Walmarts, city markets, those type of grocers as well. We've also faced fuel shortages, which has kind of caused a heavy burden on a lot of people. As much traveling as they do and as much commuting as takes place here in Pueblo West, it definitely has a large impact. Political structure. So there's elected officials for Jared Polis. He's the governor of Colorado. Then you've got the city of Pueblo, which has Nick Gradisar as the mayor. For Pueblo West Metro is a board of directors. The Metro president is Doug Prawl. And then within the school district, you have District 70, the school board with a superintendent, Ed Smith. And then for local and state government, financial support for education highly relies on property taxes as well as marijuana taxes. So social tensions. Interracial confrontation is really a minimum. We do have confrontations, but it seems to be more associated with cliques, socioeconomics, lifestyle and hobbies, private school versus public school. Those are kind of the big hitters that when we do have conflict among students, among people, it tends to center around cliques and, the financial status of how you live, rather than the ethnicity. Mask mandates have been a huge tension, and there have been some LGBTQ community pushback, if you will, where there's been some issues that have taken place at the school and has really made some uneasy conversations and some things that the school has to work together to help reestablish a stronger and more supportive relationship. Community efforts to try to bring kids together, to bring everyone together. They've implemented water parks, summer programs, skate parks. There's recreation centers. There's a gigantic sports park being put in now where the kids will be able to go swim indoors, play all the sports you can imagine, all indoors, and kind of help bring all the kids to one area that's positive and supportive for all students. There's been lots of bonds for new schools and new structures so that even some of the lower socioeconomic class schools, if you will, or the areas that have a higher poverty number, can rehabilitate their buildings so that everything is new and is usable as possible. The power structure right now, everything starts at the district administration and superintendent level. It goes down to the school board, and then it goes to the school administration team. From there, it's passed down to the teacher leadership team. And then from the teacher leadership team, it goes out to teachers and staff. And then from there, it is shared with the students and the community. So multicultural issues. So there's multicultural holiday celebrations. The school tries to incorporate as many different ceremonies they can, different celebrations they can, and try to include as many texts, as many diagrams as they can to help show that even if we don't have the diverse population that we would really like to embrace, but we try to show students that something that they might not see firsthand, but they can learn about, they can read about, so that when they venture off, when they go off to college, they get to see that. Ways we also do this is to display for different cultures. We offer different lunch menus so that it's multicultural, where we're pulling in different things. The other thing we try to do is establish a strong dress code. So public opinion. So we collect public opinion through parent and community surveys. We also go through board. We collect information from the community through board and community meetings, parent input, teacher input. We celebrate traditions with our community, within our staff. We have anniversary celebrations, clubs, and sports. Thank you for watching my EDL 856 video. Here's a list of the resources that I used. Here's my correlation. The assignment correlated with the given standard. It gave me a strong understanding of the demographics and cultures in my community. I was able to research many of the cultures identified in the community and how they have impacted both my school and the community. Prior to this assignment, I knew there were diverse populations, but not to the extent I found through researching. The assignment also gave me a better understanding of the breakdown in the community. By learning more about my students and their cultures, I can establish and maintain stronger relationships. Building those relationships with students can help the community within our school, and understanding more about the different cultures can help me be a better teacher and better community member. The assignment gave me a better understanding of the information I